it's Barbara here, and it's Q&A Wednesday. Before we get started with today's Q&A, I want to personally invite you. Next week, I'll be speaking at the National Apartment Association Conference in Boston, and I'll be speaking on the subject Grassroots Marketing at its Finest, Writing Your Creative Edge. So I'd love for you to join me. If you can't make it, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be providing a recap of everything that we learned at NAA, so please make sure and stay tuned. Okay, so on to business, today's Q&A. This one comes from Allison in South Carolina. And I love this question because this has happened to me before. She says, "Dear Barbara, I am so upset as I write this. Not at your Q&As, I love those, but at what I found when I got to my property this morning. My property was flyer bombed by a neighboring competitor." I love it, never heard that before. "My gut reaction is to retaliate in a big way. What do you think I should do? I need another perspective. Please help before I do something I'll regret. Thanks, Allison." Allison, first of all, thank you so much for introducing me to the phrase flyer bombed. I've been flyer bombed at communities that I've worked at, and honestly, my natural reaction was to want to retaliate. But today, we're gonna talk about two methods, two roads that keep it classy, but still get your point across. So first and foremost, resist the urge to retaliate, even if that's what you naturally want to do. Step back for a minute to really gain a better perspective. You have to think, why is this community doing this? Is it because their occupancy is dipping? Have they had increased skips? Maybe they're having a lot of notices to vacate. Here's the deal. When we see a trend like this at one community, typically it indicates a problem that's happening neighborhood-wide. And if it hasn't affected your community yet, it may. So it could alert you to a trend that's taking place right under your nose. So my first reaction is go and talk to the manager. Pick up some Starbucks, pick up some cupcakes, go and make friends and say, hey, what's going on? You know, I have to tell you this happened. I wasn't cool with it. But at the same time, what is it? You know, is our neighborhood really going downhill? Are we seeing some trends that maybe we can address and work to make this a better neighborhood? Now, this is one method. I'm not saying it's going to work for everyone, because sometimes we have companies that come in, their only goal is to skyrocket occupancy and then sell those communities. They're not there for the long haul to build that sense of community. If this is the case, recognize that as a second opportunity. This is our second trick or the second road that we can take. Still classy, but a little bit different. So again, recognize the fact that really there's going to be some people living at that community that in a couple of months are not going to be satisfied with what they've committed to, because again, these people are not in it for the long haul. So think about it personally and think about, what is your hook? Every single community has a hook, something that sets them apart from their competition. The hook might be that you have bigger floor plans. It might be that you have a nicer pool or newer amenities. The hook could simply be you, your team, your customer service. Maybe you guys have been at the community for a lot of years and you know a lot about the area and you can offer that value. Once you've identified your hook, your goal is to really create a marketing campaign around that. But we want to do it where we fly under the radar. We're not so aggressive and brazen in your face like flyer bombing the community. You know why? Because we don't have to do that. But what we are going to do is we're going to let everybody know that we're the obvious better choice. How do we do that? Well, let's say, for example, that your community has larger floor plans. Think of something fun, creative, and eye-catching. It might be getting a huge banner that says size matters, and then talking about how we have ginormous floor plans. Your competition's gonna know that you're in a way comparing apples to apples, or really apples to oranges, but the rest of the people aren't gonna know that. So again, you're flying under the radar. Now, if you're in an area that has a lot of drive-by or walk-by traffic, why not consider really going grassroots or guerrilla style marketing? One of the examples that we're going to be sharing at NAA is using chalk on the sidewalk. We love that idea because, again, if people are walking by your community, you can highlight your specials, you can highlight what sets you apart, what makes you unique. One of the examples that we're showcasing is of a community in Austin. They have great window space and they have a lot of drive-by and walk-by traffic. And just with very simple guerrilla tactics, they've really broadcasted what their community has to offer. They've also tied it back into their social media campaigns. So by doing that, they're creating eye-catching, curb appeal marketing campaigns that are really bright, vibrant, and really stand out from the competition. So Allison, again, resist the urge to retaliate. There you go. There are two different approaches. They're both in the keeping it classy category, but they still are very effective. You don't have to stoop to that low, but you too can reach your occupancy goals with these methods. Now, if you like what you've heard, like it on Facebook, tweet about it, share it with your friends, share it with your coworkers. Now, if you're still stumped, maybe you need an idea on how to create a marketing campaign, or maybe it's how do I find my hook, or what kind of a direct mail campaign could I do? Email me. I love this kind of stuff. Send it to me at barbara@watchyourbusinesssprout.com. And for sure, by all means, if you can make it to Boston, I'd love to see you there. My presentation is Thursday morning, and again, it's grassroots marketing at its finest, writing your creative edge. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week on Q&A Wednesday.